Hey everybody. This is not going to be some special fancy frilly video with an intro and an outro and all kinds of I don't know, captions and word bubbles and all that stuff flying around. I might even be taking my YouTube in a whole different direction at this point, but hi. Kind of vlogging, I guess, getting some stuff off my chest, putting it on video while I'm thinking about it. So here's the deal. My child is among those who are doing school 100% virtually so far this school year. They're starting to get to a point where they're thinking about doing a couple of days in person when they start the next trimester. Her school does trimesters, whatever. When they start the next, session after the holiday, after Christmas holiday. But at this point, she's been going to school 100% virtually. And this is really what I want to say is that the school year has reminded me of what it looks like to either have expectations for your child or put pressure on them to perform, right? We really have to work to find the balance because it takes learning who your child is as a learner, as a student of school and of life, so that you can say this is where the bar should be for you and then expect them to do that or better, and then showing them that they're capable of that, right? Because one of the tough things is that a lot of times as a parent or a guardian or someone who's raising another person, teaching them whatever, you can see how capable they are, but they don't necessarily see it. They don't necessarily believe in themselves the same way that we do. And so sometimes it can feel like pressure to them, but it's really you just saying, this is what you're capable of. Let me see you do this. This is the bottom, for me. This is the bare minimum I should see from you because I know, or I've seen you do, or I know that, it's possible, etc. from this perspective, right? So we have to be very, very realistic in our expectation so that when they do meet it, it's, what I'm saying, they actually do meet it. And when they do, they can be like, oh, wow, mom, dad, grandma, auntie, I did it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to keep this general and not get very specific or personal about my stepdaughter. But I have worked with her over summers and doing summer school activities. I call it summer school. She calls it summer school, whatever. Activities with her between the last couple school years. And so I've seen her as a student. I've worked with her as a student. And so I know what she's been capable of. And if she can do A, B, and C before, then why would it be any less or any different now, right? And so, as parents, my husband and I know that she can do A, B, and C, and sometimes she doesn't think so. Sometimes she'll say, well, I don't know, or she says she's not sure. She just has that, less certain response than we have to what the school is presenting to her. And so we have to take our time and say, well, of course you can, and not, what you mean you can't? Yes, you can. We can't give her the, you better do it because yes, you do. It's easier to do it that way sometimes, to have that knee-jerk response. Like, what you mean you can't? Yes, you can. Don't, like you lying to yourself, you lying to me, whatever. It's like you have to be more gentle with them so it feels like an expectation and it doesn't feel like pressure. It doesn't feel like a fight for them, because if they feel pressured, the emotions can get in the way, and every time they sit down at that desk, every time they sit down with their papers, their pencil, their computer, etc., that overwhelming emotion can hit them. They hear your voice in their head yelling at them. They hear their own voice saying, you can't do this, and so you have to give them the gentle voice, because that's what they're going to hear in their subconscious when they're trying. You have to give them that gentle voice, and hopefully, yours overpowers what's going on inside of them. because they have to have their own internal thing, but they're not at that point yet. I know I'm saying a lot. I have a lot of thoughts. They have to have their own internal drive, but they're not there yet. And so whatever you give them externally becomes their internal drive temporarily. And then when they get to a point where they have their own drive, their own reasons for why they want to do well, it's not just about making mommy and daddy proud. It's about making myself proud. It's about, I want to be, whatever I want to be. Our daughter talks about wanting to be a veterinarian, an astronaut, an engineer. She recently talked about being interested in learning how to fly planes. Just having those things in their own head, like, this is what I want to do. Eventually they'll realize that if I do these things first, I can get to that point, or this is how I get there, But at this point, we just have to show them what our expectations are, being gentle with them, being easy on them about what they're capable of until they get to a point where they can do that within themselves. But the whole thing in the midst of all of this, because that's normal, the midst of all of this is that they're doing virtual school. They're doing it in a way that literally no one else has before. And that's the second point I want to make too, is that because they're doing something that, I hate that word, unprecedented, but that's where we are. They're doing something no one has ever done before. We don't even technically know how to teach them how to do it. So we really have to be more gentle on them. And if you think it's stressful and scary and hard and frustrating for you because you have to change your work schedule, or because you have to be at home differently, or because your job changed, or your home, life has changed. If you think it's difficult for you, imagine at an age where you're already so out of control of what's going on in your life, or you're so unlearned about the things that are going on around you. You're so inexperienced. All they have to look at is you, and you don't know. Then how much more stressed, how much more overwhelmed can our children be at this time? And I'm so grateful that my child is a little older, and so she deals with it differently, but she's a little older. In a lot of ways we can say to her, this is what's going on, and she understands. At the same time, we have an emotional, person. She has an emotional heart. She's an emotional, person. She's very sensitive, and so she feels her emotions pretty, heavily sometimes. And so we have to be able to navigate and help her through that, but also help her to recognize and understand how she's feeling and talk it out and, get from point A to point B. She's getting to an age where she's able to do that. But some kids can't do that, and they're just as sensitive, or they're dealing with these emotions for the very first time. They're 5, they're 6, they're 7. They've never dealt with such a level of stress or emotional distress ever in their life. And it's coming in an academic form. And you can't just not go to school. You can't just take a couple of days off and deal with it later. Like, school is boom, boom, 5 days a week. We have to just keep pushing forward. That's hard, And so I know a lot of people are saying it, but really the thing is, you have to be easy on yourself, recognize your own emotions, and then be easy on your kids and recognize their emotions as well. But remember at all times that you want to give them an expectation to do well, so that you can see them continue to try to do well, even in the midst of this difficult and different situation. So I don't know. That's just where my mind is right now. Maybe that makes sense to y'all. Maybe it doesn't. We really are working to do our best in our home. And I hope you guys are working and doing your best at home as well. If not, this is your moment to turn things around and be encouraged. It can get better. And hopefully they'll be back, in school sooner than later. But even then, we've got to make that transition. We've got to still continue to be easy on these kids. They started the school year a whole crazy way. They're going to be practically going to the first day of school. If they do go back in person, it's going to change again. And they're going to have to readjust to this new schedule, to a new thing. Maybe they haven't been waking up as early because they don't have to get dressed and get on the bus, right? Now we got to get used to getting up early enough to go to school, to get dropped off or whatever. Just, those are my two things. Is expectations and not pressure, right? And then also remembering, as much as you feel emotionally about this, they probably feel the same, if not even more, because they're younger, they're inexperienced, and it's hard to see a light at the end of a tunnel that you've never even remotely been down, right? But I love y'all, and I don't know, keep tuning to my YouTube channel. I am hoping to kind of revamp things. I guess at this point I'm just updating y'all on how I'm doing or where I'm at as far as my channel and stuff like that. I think I'm going to revamp some things and do this a little differently. I've been feeling my own pressure to perform and do this YouTube thing, right? But this one girl that I just started watching on YouTube, I'm not going to remember her name, but I'm going to link her channel, or maybe I'll put it in here. Just that'll be the only thing I tag in this, put edit into this video. But check out her channel. She was really encouraging. She's so sweet about not feeling like you have to perform like these big YouTubers do, and you don't have to buy the things and go to the places so you can do those crazy hauls or those cute little glam videos or whatever. I'm talking to myself. But I just want to give y'all what I'm supposed to give y'all, because I know that there is some call in my life to do something like this, to share with people. And I want to make sure I'm sharing the right thing and not just sharing stuff because I'm like, this is what people like and this is what people want, and I want to be a billion subscribers and make all that YouTube check. I don't want that to be my goal, especially because I think it already kind of was, and I feel myself not reaching it. And there's a reason, because that's not necessarily what my goal was supposed to be. But now I'm just preaching to myself. So I love you guys. Hopefully this is encouraging to you. If you've got questions about the way that we're doing things at our home for virtual school, then please feel free to ask them. I was supposed to do a video of her classroom. I never got around to it. It didn't seem worth it, but whatever. Ask any questions you have below, whatever. Follow me on my Instagram, social media, whatever. See y'all on Facebook. Love everybody.